All right. It's the man, it's the myth, it's the legend, Julian Goldie. And today we are going through some of the latest SEO news. Black Box says question mark. So shout out to Black Box. If you're watching this, please smash a like on it. And we're going to get into some of the latest headlines right here. So I'm going to share my screen. We can get into it. It's been a crazy, crazy, crazy week. You can see in a second what I'm going to show you. So one of the first things that one of the first things I actually want to talk about today is the Jamie IF tweet. Did anyone see this on Twitter? Absolutely insane. I'm not going to read it out because I don't want to, create any negativity in terms of who got called out. But if you haven't seen that tweet, got about 80k views. Absolutely insane. There was a lot of drama on Twitter this week in the SEO community. And with that, we're going to get straight into it. But we will be getting Jamie on the show next week for an interview. So that's going to be a very interesting one. So JN says, whose tweet? Jamie IF. Check him out on Twitter. He has a really interesting account, talks a lot about Twitter. I think he's got some sites up for like $1 million, something like that. It's pretty crazy. So it's crazy times right now. And if you haven't seen that tweet, it's pretty wild. Another tweet that I want to show you, and this is another dramatic one. Let me just share my screen right here, and I will show you exactly what we mean. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please smash a like on it. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the live and we'll just run through them and that sort of thing. So the other thing that was announced this week, so I actually ran a poll. You can see here, got 128 votes right here. And you can see Google after the updates, better or worse. People are actually saying that Google is 82% of people said that Google is worse now than it's ever been before, which is pretty mad when you think about it, because the latest update that's just come out has been absolutely massive. Probably the biggest one I've seen in years and years, yonks and yonks in SEO time. But it's been pretty crazy to see that as well. So that sort of thing. Lucas says, hi, nice background. Thank you very much. I'm traveling right now in Thailand, so I don't want to share my screen because it's not that interesting. This one is way more interesting than with a virtual background on. So yeah, not back in the studio yet. That's actually why I haven't published a couple of times this week, because I'm just out of the routine and things aren't quite as normal. But yeah, interesting times for sure. By the way, if you're enjoying this, smash a like on it. And another thing that you all may have noticed, just going to share my screen again, is the Google Core update. Oh, we'll come on to that in a second. The Google Core update that has come along right now is still rolling out, which is very unusual indeed. I think John Mueller recently said the core update is about to finish, but you can see it came out on the 5th of March right here last month, and it's still rolling out right now, which is insane. And one thing I've actually noticed is that Google Discover is not performing the same way it previously was. So if you look at a lot of my videos previously, what you'll find is that we got a lot of traffic from Google Discover back in the day. So you can see we got like 65k views, 24k views, etc., 9.5k views. Nowadays, a lot of these videos are not popping off on Google Discover, which is quite interesting. I think they've tweaked the algorithm so that things are not getting pushed as much on Google Discover as they previously was, particularly for YouTube. And the other thing I've seen, I want to show you an example here, and we'll show you the analytics on YouTube, because if I show you a public case study, then I'm asking to get clapped. But if I show you my YouTube, I don't think they can clap that. So if we go on to a recent video of mine, and I'll show you what I mean with Google Discover. So we'll go on to the link building masterclass over here. What you'll see is that after 6 days and 12 hours, this video, in a very short space of time, about 12 hours, got 700 views, right? It's quite interesting to see that. You can see the analytics here. So like just a normal video, 1 view, 7 views, etc. And then popped off on Google Discover right there, as you can see. And I know that it's come from Google Discover because you can see that it's attributed to Google search in the external sites on the analytics right there. And then it popped down again. So there's definitely something changing there, because normally Google Discover would work after 24 hours, and now the algorithm seems to work after like 6 days, which is crazy. Elon Musk tweeted, is that Elon Musk? He tweeted about Google. You need to use before 2023 to get better results. I'm gonna have a look at that. I didn't know about that, but that is very interesting indeed. Let me have a cheeky gander. Yeah, 1 hour ago, Musk shared a screenshot of a pro tip advising users to prepend before 2023 to their search queries to get something more relevant. That's interesting. You know, when Elon Musk is tweeting about Google, there's been a lot of changes. But that's crazy. He doesn't usually tweet about Google search. He might be becoming an SEO. And if so, he needs to be careful of the that potentially come along in the first place. Curtin Patel says, suggest a SEMrush SEO alternative. All right, if you want to know an interesting one that no one is really talking about on YouTube just yet, apart from one person, and this is a big one, it's cheaper than most other tools I've seen out there, and that is Clicks.so. So it's clicks.so, and it's a tool by Jamie Ross, who, in fact, his name is pronounced Yame Ross, I think, believe. And I was speaking to him at the Vietnamese SEO Mastery Summit last week, and he's basically released this tool that is not as comprehensive as Ahrefs, so not going to be SEO until it's like the best thing since sliced bread. But if you're a beginner or you just want something cheaper than SEMrush, that's a good alternative. Another one that I'm looking at is Sanuto, but I've not checked it out properly, so I need to do a few tests on that. But that's quite affordable too, and I think that's big in Poland, but it's getting pushed out to England as well. And then the other one that I don't mind is SE ranking. The only thing I find with SE ranking, and just being 100% honest with everyone here, is that the UI is not as good as Ahrefs, right? So I'm fully locked in on Ahrefs. Use it from agency, I use it for everything. And obviously, of course, most of our clients prefer to use domain rating, which is Ahrefs metric, versus any other sort of metric for measuring a website's power, right? So for me, I still use Ahrefs, but there's tons of alternatives, and it seems like there's more and more alternatives coming out there. So Clickso is one. Sanuto, SE ranking, SEMrush, you can get the free trial. Ubersuggest even does the job. It's better than most tools, and it's better than most people think. By the way, if you're enjoying this, please smash a like on it. Lucas says, today something is happening in SERP. Many pages are entering the Google index. Maybe I'm back in the game. Let's have a cheeky gander. Julian Goldie, 100 results on Google right now. Let's have a look. I'm 99% sure the manual actions haven't been removed. Let's check Chipper Birds. Yeah, Chipper Birds is still out of the game, sadly. But that's interesting. Let's check the SERP volatility as well. I'm going to just share my screen and we'll do it together. We'll do the big reveal. Be interesting to know which pages you've seen get indexed more on the SERPs. But if we have a gander at the SEMrush SERP volatility measure, we can have a look. Now, the thing is as well, the Parasite SEO update still has to come out, and that's on the way. So it's going to get even crazier next month. From what I saw, Google said there are action penalty and algorithmic penalties for what's happening in terms of the Parasite SEO update. So I can see a lot of big websites getting clapped next month, and that's going to create even more drama and even more volatility in the SERPs. But I think it's good for the niche sites owners who have been hit recently. But yeah, very high range today. It's a Google Quake, as SEMrush say, and that is 8.1 out of 10. So still loads of changes in the SERPs going on right now. It's pretty crazy times. Income Stream Surfers, welcomed, and shout out to Income Stream Surfers, who says, I haven't experienced a single drop in traffic except one single website where we use an autoblogger. Thoughts? It's an interesting one. I mean, same for me in the background, right? So my case study websites haven't taken a hit apart from the ones that were inside one Google Search Console. But I know, particularly for you income stream surfers, like you're not just publishing content in bulk, you actually edit it and you actually make sure the content is good. So I think you're doing the right things there. In terms of what's happened, I know that you're still releasing like autoblogging related updates and content and that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. So yeah, shout out to Income Stream Surfers. But yeah, that's unusual to see no movements at all. Axelex says, hey Julian, quick question. Would you rather use this link structure, URL/category/page or URL/page? Depends how big your website is, right? So if you're an e-commerce website, for sure you want your categories in your URLs, because then it's easier to keep everything under one umbrella when it comes to your different products. And if you're selling a lot of categories and you're setting up a lot of product pages at bulk, then typically that's the way you want to structure it, right? Whereas if you just have a blog or a niche site or an agency site, typically I just prefer to do URL page. So quite flat. And that's simply because it keeps it simpler, it's easier to manage, and also as your website expands, you don't need to worry about categories and where everything's going. But also it depends how you create the content, right? So if you're creating it with human written content, then you're probably publishing at a slower rate. And that also means that you can manage the categories and everything a bit easier. Whereas if you're publishing at scale, it's going to be more difficult. But yeah, I personally prefer the flat structure. Easier for me. Best SEO A/B testing tool. So I don't want to BS you and tell you I'm the expert at A/B testing SEO content. For me, what I've heard and what I think it was Kyle Roof that actually recommended it to me was SEOtesting.com. But I've not tested it. I've heard good things about it, just not tried it myself. But yeah, I think that's one of the best tools. And then if you're trying to test different product pages, so let's say you've got an info product or an agency page or just a page that you're trying to get to convert, then I would recommend using Go High Level. And I don't think there's even an affiliate link inside the description for High Level, but it's my favorite tool right now. In fact, we're using it for Facebook ads to test different landing pages and that sort of thing, and it's working really well. So yeah, if you're using SEO tests and you're A/B testing SEO stuff, use SEOtesting.com. If you're using landing pages and funnel pages and that sort of thing, you want to test different products and how they convert, then I would recommend using Go High Level. Also, just a little quick intermission right here, and I will share my screen with you and show you something pretty cool. We just got 2 massive results with traffic diversification today, and I'm pretty excited to share that with you. So what you can see right here is my account managers have posted on our company Discord today, so both at about 4 p.m. today, saying they closed sales from Facebook ads. So we got a sale for 1K, which is a monthly recurring client. So that's about 12K a year. Most of our clients stay a year at least. And then we also closed another client at $1,200 per month from Facebook ads as well. So if you haven't seen the Facebook ads training that I actually gave away earlier this week, definitely check it out. Like, it's working right now. It's bringing in, $20,000 a year clients, and it's free. Gave it away for free. And if you want to learn more about that, or you want to ask me some questions, feel free to check out my SEO mastermind that also comes with agency courses and an agency community as well. Isaac says, any affiliate commerce examples, affiliate sites with e-com appearance? Interesting one. I have a couple of people in our mastermind who are doing that, but I don't want to reveal their URLs because I have to be respectful for them. But yeah, I've seen a lot of sites out there doing it. It's kind of like a signal to say that your website is an e-commerce site, even if it's not, even if it's using affiliate. Honestly, it's a little bit grey hat. You sort of pull in the wool over Google's eyes when it comes to that. So you got to be careful there. But have I seen a lot of people doing it? Absolutely. And does it work? Absolutely. So yeah, I think this is something I'm seeing more and more of, right? It seems to be trending right now because e-commerce sites are doing so well. And I'll come on to a couple of examples later in the video today. Because e-commerce sites are doing so well, then yeah, it's easy to hide. And one thing that people are doing, not publicly recommending it, but I'm just telling you what works, as I always do here. So one thing that is working right now when it comes to those sort of signals is you can basically set up a cart on your website where people can add items to their cart. So it looks like an e-commerce site when Google crawls it, but actually in reality, you can't buy anything when you check out the cart. And it's just going to have like a pop-up, or it's going to send you to a funnel page, etc. But on the outside, it looks like an e-commerce site, which means that its rankings potentially could improve. AxiX says, do you have any sites that got more traffic after the update, all down or de-indexed? Yeah, so we have over 50 sites in the background that are ranking really well right now. Some of them are just flying after the update. So it's an interesting one, but obviously can't publicly reveal it. I did actually post another local SEO case study in the WhatsApp group for my SEO mastermind this week, and that was interesting. I think one of the best things about that is with local SEO, you don't need a lot of traffic to make a lot of money, right? So for example, if I have an SEO agency and I'm trying to get SEO clients to our agency, I love to use local SEO for this because I can quickly rank a local SEO site, quickly create the content, and then I can rank it, start ranking it for different keywords that are all going to bring in money because they're buyer intent related. And then I can track the UTMs on the website, so the URLs that we post, and track where all the leads are coming from, right? So I can see which sites are performing the best. But yeah, I've seen loads of sites do really well after the update, especially with local SEO, especially if you've got an agency site, right? Just don't keep them in the same Google Search Console and don't show them publicly on YouTube. That's two little tips that I can give you right there. Riddle Daily says, man, my website has gone to 0 impressions and almost 0 clicks from the past 1 month. I haven't used AI or anything unethical. Tech blog, any suggestions about what keywords to focus? So if you can tell me a bit more about your niche, then I'll pull up Ahrefs right now. We can do some keyword research together. I'll give you some ideas of the best keywords to go for. Number two, sorry to hear about your impressions and your clicks going down to 0. It'd be interesting to know how much traffic you were previously getting before that happened. But yeah, I've seen so much collateral damage. Honestly, in terms of algorithmic penalties, so not manual actions, but algorithmic penalties in this latest update, I've seen human sites get hit. I've seen human sites where they actually buy the reviews, hire an expert, get actual pictures and videos of the product and review it. I've seen people do all the right things and then they still get smashed. And I can actually show you an example of this. This was posted on Twitter recently and it was an absolutely brutal status update. Let me find it right here. If you haven't seen it, you want to see this one. And it's by a lady called Christine Hines. So shout out to Christine. But I'm going to pull up an example of a site that got hit with collateral damage. But not just collateral damage, actually got hit because it was doing all the right things. But the thing is, sometimes all the right things aren't enough. You still have to build backlinks and all this stuff that white hat SEOs will not tell you to do, but you need to do it, right? So you can see here, another small publisher completely obliterated by Google for following bad SEO advice, right? So this person was getting the traffic ranking. They were getting like 872K traffic right there. And then the website just got obliterated, not after the core update last month, but actually after the helpful content update back in August last year. The tweet goes on to say they don't realize that this bad advice has the potential to completely destroy them. Now, this isn't from someone following like, a YouTube video, a YouTube tutorial. It's not someone following a course, etc. It's someone actually just following the guidelines out there, right? This is an interesting take. I'm not going to comment on whether it's good or bad, but what you can see in Christine's post right here, they've got 441,000 views right there, is that this is a site where they thought all you need to do is create helpful content and follow the guidelines, right? Unfortunately, helpful content is subjective. And even though they were doing all the right things, they still got hit because their competitors were doing the right things in terms of SEO and they weren't, basically. And yeah, it's just a very interesting thing. Also, they weren't prepared for finding alternative organic traffic. Now, if you want to learn more about how to get organic traffic away from SEO, check out my free SEO course. Link is in the comments and description. And that free SEO course has 8 different trainings on how to get traffic outside of SEO. So that if something like this comes along where, you drop down to 0 impressions or 0 clicks, doesn't matter. You're still going to grow a business. You're still going to make money. You're still going to get traffic from other sources based on what's working for me, including my Facebook ads training. So I'd recommend checking out so that you can still make money no matter what Google update comes along or no matter what algorithmic update comes along to YouTube or Twitter or whatever, because all of these platforms can clap you at any time. That's just a game that we play, right? That's a risk. If you don't diversify your traffic, then you can get smashed. So all types of everything says, are your courses still relevant or are you going to edit them? So I'm interested to know why someone might think that my courses are not relevant anymore. But what I'm going to show you, and I'll pull this up in a second, is some examples of what you can get inside my free courses. Well, not my free courses, my SEO mastermind, right? So here is the SEO mastermind. And if we go to this section right here, it's very relevant, especially right now, because it's all about the fundamentals, right? So we cover keyword research and how to do that in week 1, content in week 2, link building in week 3. Now, these are all things that apply right today. And these are all based on what's working for me right now. And actually, inside the content section, inside the creating the content section, you can see that we run through exactly how to create the content, how to index it, etc. And this is actually all about human content. So we have AI related workflows inside the SEO Mastermind in a separate section. But if you just want to do things the traditional way, which is what I've always recommended from day one, then you can find that inside week 2 content section. It actually covers how to create human content. So then we have link building sections, hiring, conversion rate optimization, and self-improvement systems. Now, the beautiful thing about all of this course is that it doesn't matter how many updates there are, doesn't matter what happens with SEO, all the fundamentals are the same, right? And if you go back 15 or 20 years, the fundamentals of SEO were the same back then. So the course doesn't need to change. The only thing that has changed within the course as well, and I just updated it this week, is that number one, we have a YouTube SEO course in there because obviously I grew my channel in the last 12 months from 7K subscribers to 77,000. So that basically teaches you exactly what you need to do right there. And then inside the mastermind as well, we have the agency mastermind, right? And it talks through, this is all included in the same price, but you get like you learn how to get clients, lead generation, sales mastery, hiring, and how to basically scale your SEO agency as well, along with 2 weekly coaching calls. So everything in there is super relevant, super updated, and it's by far the most comprehensive course I've ever created. Plus, it's got a great community of people. Curtin Patel says, shout out to Curtin, have you heard about Japanese SEO hack? One of my friends got this attack on the client's website. Thousands of Japanese URLs have been indexed currently in Google search results pages. Suggest your views. Very interesting one. So I don't know a lot about the hacks, how they work. I think I've heard Corey Tugberg talk about them briefly. But what I can say is we have a client. So bear in mind, like we don't edit our clients' websites. We don't have access to their website or anything like that. We just do link building and we create content for them. But what I did see for one of our clients recently is that they got hacked by Japanese SEO, right? And basically what happened, literally within a week, was that thousands of pages got created, targeting really weird Japanese keywords, and then they started ranking and getting traffic for those keywords as well. So like if you go inside the keywords on Ahrefs, you'll see all these Japanese keywords that they're ranking for and all these weird URLs because obviously the characters are transformed into Roman numerals afterwards, right? So it's pretty common, pretty scary stuff. I know one of the plugins that a lot of people recommend is WordFence out there, and also just be careful. Like you've got to be careful where you store your passwords, how you store them, where you host your website, what sort of plugins you're installing. Even some of these old plugins that you install on WordPress can leave you liable to an attack. So yeah, just be careful with everything and always back up your website as well. The good news about that situation with the Japanese hacker was that they managed to get back access to the website. They managed to take down all the dodgy pages. It didn't hit their main traffic, and they are still ranking for some Japanese keywords, but I think they're working on fixing that. So yeah, it's a bit of a scary situation. I can imagine if you're getting a lot of traffic, you'd be really worried about that whole situation. But yeah, just got to be careful there. Super Spanish says, did you try to change the site URLs of your sites? Jackie from Indexy got a massive rebound from his Google penalty. So from what I saw with Jackie is that he actually got a penalty just on one subdirectory. And so that subdirectory was penalized, but not his whole website, right? So if he published content on other URLs outside of that subdirectory, it wouldn't be clapped in the same way, and there wouldn't be a manual action, right? That's as far as I understand about it, which means that he could create the content on a different subdirectory and start ranking it, and even take the same content and then change the URLs. So I think that's why he can have a bit of a rebound. Whereas if you look at some of the sites that we got clapped, it was a whole site penalty, right? So a pretty brutal one where you can't really recover on the same domain. What I have heard, which is a pretty crazy one, is that manual actions expire after 2 years, but even when they expire, that website is still hit. And also, just from reaching out to people who have had similar situations in the past, and they gave me a lot of good advice on that whole situation, was that if your website gets a manual action penalty in that specific situation, there's a very high chance that you'll never get it back, which is totally fine for me because I can get traffic from other places, other channels. This is why I talk a lot about traffic diversification. And that website still brings in leads, so it doesn't matter. And then also it brings in traffic from Bing as well. That's the other danger. Is like, let's say you're getting 100 clicks a day from Bing, and then you change all the URLs on your website so that you can rank on Google again because let's say you got a subdirectory manual action penalty. Well, then the problem is all the URLs would have to be 401'd to make sure that you don't lose any traffic from Bing as well. So it's kind of like you got to be careful there. There's a lot of moving parts. And also, if you're sending traffic to that website from anywhere else, which we are, then yeah, you have to be quite careful. Curtin Patel says how to recover from the Japanese keyword SEO hack and get the old pages to be indexed or client website pages only. Suggests a solution. So I guess, you got to focus on prevention, not cure, which probably sounds like a little bit too late for your client, right? But prevention, not cure, install WordFence, get the right hosting. Maybe we'll get a site security expert on the channel as well, because I'm not an expert on that. I can only tell you what I know. But when it comes to actually getting your site back, it's a difficult one. I guess you have to contact your hosts, right? Contact your hosts and figure out how you can get access to your website. I think if you explain the situation to your host, let's say you're with SiteGround or someone like that, they can probably help you get access back to your site, because it's not, they might have to reinstall some of the WordPress and that sort of thing. And I think it did happen to one of my websites years ago. And one of my virtual assistants actually got access to that website again, just by contacting SiteGround and asking them to delete all the stuff that had happened, restore the website, give us access back to the old site, and the issue never occurred again. But it was so long ago now that I can't really remember. Fat J says, because Google using AI to combat AI, I doubt it's going to be 100% right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, Google's an algorithm. They got trillions of pages to index, I can imagine at this point. Are they going to get everything right? No. And I was speaking to the founder of Originality in that interview earlier this week, and he was saying the same. Like, there's going to be some collateral damage when there's so many websites using AI. Sometimes it's going to be impossible to predict. So yeah, it's one of those. Also, I think that from what I've seen, it's not just about AI, right? So if you look at that update, yes, they don't like AI in terms of just one take draking and publishing content at scale and just smashing out loads of content, right? Totally get that. But at the same time, what I also see with Google is that they don't like niche sites. They don't like affiliate sites. And I don't think that's been a secret, right? So it seems like every update, they're getting closer and closer to wiping out niche sites and having brands ranking, which is the right thing to do. I honestly think, like, wouldn't you much prefer to see a real brand, a real expert? Like, for example, if I was Googling stuff about business, I'd much rather, let's say it's, for example, sales training, right? I'd much rather see someone like Cole Gordon or Alex Hormozy ranking on the first page of Google with their content, whether that's a YouTube video or one of their articles. I'd much rather see that than a niche site that's trying to make money off me by affiliating Cole Gordon's website or affiliating something on Alex Hormozy's funnels, right? So I get it. I understand why they are. I don't hold any resentment, and I think it's time to adapt as well. But yeah, there's going to be some collateral damage along the way when it comes to AI. JN says, what are your thoughts on online casino industry that are doing clone sites, for example, the keyword Gilevo in PH? I'm absolutely not an expert on online casino content. What I can say is that we've done link building for clients in the past in the casino niche, and it works really well. Particularly link inserts, they work really nicely. Clone sites, I don't really know much about that, so I couldn't tell you. I'm not a SEO. I think that's the same question right there. Coding, Shiksha, shout out to you. It's been a while since we've seen you. And Coding says, if you are in Google Office, please tell them, please end that core update. Yeah, I'm definitely not in the Google core update office. And I can imagine it's pandemonium right there. It'd be interesting to know what's going on behind the scenes, wouldn't it? By the way, if you're enjoying this, please do smash like on it. That would just help me reach more people, help more people for free so that I can answer your questions and get everything sorted. But yeah, if anyone's in the Google office, we know what to do. I bet it's an absolutely crazy time for them. Let's have a look now. We got JN who says, what are your thoughts on, okay, we've got the same question 3 times there. I think we've answered it. AxiX says, do you think most pages that got clapped on the March update were also hit by HCU? One of my websites got hit by both, from 2K a day to around 200 from Google. So that's down by, 90%, something like that. Pretty brutal update. Now, I actually saw a lot of sites. All right, so number one. So I haven't seen, I guess there's 3 things to discuss here, right? So when it comes to the HCU last year, crazy update. A lot of sites that got hit by that, in fact, pretty much every single site was put into a negative ranking state, right? So their traffic was just declining over and over and over time. And I've not seen a single case study, a single solid website that actually recovers from the HCU. I've seen like a couple of sites bounce back like a tiny amount, but I've not seen any sites bounce back completely or even get into a neutral ranking state after that situation. So whether the core update comes out or not, they're just going to continue to get demolished, right? Their traffic is just going down and down and down and down and down. And so if they're on that downwards trajectory in a negative ranking state, then they're just not going to recover. When it comes to the March update, what I saw was that a lot of sites that did really well during the HCU last year actually got hit by this update. And this is probably a good time to bring up a couple of case studies that are very interesting right now. One of them I mentioned a few times. I won't spend too much time on that. But the next one is pretty crazy as well. And then I'm going to show you a site that actually got hit massively recently as well. So first one, Dogster, they're up like crazy. E-commerce site, DR76, you can see they're ranking with their authority. Keywords and traffic are just going up really nicely. The next one is cakesbymk.com. And what's interesting about this, and this should give a lot of people hope right now, is that they are a DR16, right? So you can still rank if you're a low authority site. I wouldn't let that hold you back. And you can see that their traffic has grown ever since the helpful content update. In fact, it seems like they launched last year. So back, a couple of years ago, they were really small potatoes. And the traffic, ever since the HCU last year, has increased massively. Now, why is that? It's because, number one, they obviously they know what they're doing when it comes to SEO. They know what they're talking about. But also, they're publishing content on YouTube as well, which I think helps massively for building a brand, building a EAT, etc. And then I think they've been quite conservative with the backlink strategy. So for most of our clients, we build like 3 to 5 backlinks per week. And I think these guys are doing similar sort of things. So you can see, for example, they're using link inserts right here, like best vanilla cake recipe, that sort of thing. The backlink strategy seems to be quite conservative, as you can see right there. Now I want to show you an example of a website that got absolutely smashed. And it's in a similar niche to Dogster. So A to Z animals.com. And I think this is a programmatic website. So if we pull these guys up, right? So they were getting, back in July, 10.1 million. And the reason that I'm answering this question in this way is because you were talking about, okay, did sites that got hit by the helpful content update get hit by the core update? And I think it's just they're on a downwards trajectory and the core update actually speeds that up, right? So this site was at 10.13 million traffic, absolutely blown up last year, very high DR website. And then you can see they got hit by the helpful content update. So they dropped down after the helpful content update to about 7.5 million. And then all of a sudden, the traffic just dropped off a cliff. And I think that Ahrefs is not actually caught up yet. So they're probably getting less traffic than even that. And if we pull up their site, they're still indexed on Google, right? So they've still got 12,100 pages, but it seems like they got hit massively by both updates. So I think you can get hit by both updates, but yeah, it's one of those crazy situations where if you get hit by the helpful content update, it's just a negative trajectory after that. And I haven't seen any sites recover. Having said that, really good example from cakesbymk.com that you can start and be a relatively new site with a low DR and still rank, especially if you're doing YouTube along the way as well. All types of everything says, because of the updates and videos saying do this instead, that's why I asked. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. So, I mean, you got to bear in mind, right? I consider myself more of a marketer than an SEO. And I'm not going to be SEO and tell you like I'm the best SEO in the world. I've been doing it for 10 years, but I wouldn't say I'm like the world's #1 expert. And for me, what I do is I just test things and then I show you what I've tested. So that way, you get the proof and the evidence of what actually works and what doesn't. But when it comes to these sort of videos, the title is just playing on sentiment around what's happening right now, because that's the way the YouTube algorithm works. So for me, when I do a title like SEO is dead, do this instead, SEO is still working. And I know more people making more money than ever. And you can too, right? There's massive opportunities for everyone right now, especially if you diversify your traffic and your portfolio and how you're monetizing your sites and everything else. But sometimes I will make clickbait videos that need to get traffic, and that's why I say do this instead, or do that, or try this, or do YouTube SEO instead as well. And I think as well, it's very important to open everyone's minds who's watching, because if I just tell you to do SEO, but you don't think about the other channels, then it will be unethical of me, because if a core update comes along and someone gets hit and I've not shown people how to diversify their traffic, then I'm not helping them in the best way that I know how. Because if I teach you how to do Facebook ads or Twitter, if I teach you how to do LinkedIn and email marketing and build funnels, then you can make 5 to 10 times the amount of money you're making from SEO, because you know how to monetize, you know how to convert that traffic better and everything else. So I just try and help people in the best way I can. And if that involves some clickbait titles, for sure it's going to happen. Finger red number one, not sure what that's about, but thank you. And then Isaac Lopez says, what types of websites can be created with programmatic SEO besides business listings? So that website, A to Z Animals, is a website created with programmatic SEO. But you can create websites around anything programmatically. Like, for example, I think Zapier are a really good example of that. From what I've read, Zapier use a lot of programmatic SEO, but they do it in a way that's really useful for the user. So it's not about like spamming the internet and creating loads of websites and loads of pages at scale. Like, that's the wrong way to do programmatic SEO. But if you are collating a really useful data set and then you're really analyzing, okay, how can I create the most useful content possible? And then you implement programmatic SEO. That's the right way to do it. And I think Zapier are a very good way of doing that. And yeah, that sort of thing. So it works in the pets niche, as we've shown you already, if you do it the right way. It works in the software niche, and it can work anywhere. I mean, I think Robert Nickjow was on the channel a few months ago, and he was talking about OnlyFans content, right? So building OnlyFans websites using programmatic SEO, because you can get data sets. It's quite easy to get data sets, and then you can actually use a combination of programmatic SEO to create content at scale. If you want to, and that's kind of like the gray hat, the white hat method. If you want to create programmatic content using black hat techniques, so the really dodgy, unethical stuff, then the way that people typically do that is that they can use a combination of AI, and then you can also rank local terms. So for example, if you look at Chris Palmer and the interview that we did with him a few months ago, you'll find that we did an interview where he was launching news sites for like 36,000 pages and then ranking those. I'm not advising that. I'm not saying that's the right way to do it. I am saying there are people out there doing that. And so there's many ways that you can use programmatic SEO. The best quote from Robert Nickjow that actually I learned from him that day was, your only limitation is your imagination, right? So the more that you experiment or the more that you brainstorm around programmatic SEO, the better that you become at it, and the more opportunities you see with how you can use it. But yeah, hope that helps. I'm just looking at Phil Stone's comment. I'll pull this up. Google slaps or ball slaps, which is better? That is not a safe for work subject. I'm not going to answer it. Ball slaps could mean anything. But yeah, interesting question right there. Shout out to Philip Stone. And Arsoul says, people saying clapped just makes me think of an STI clinic. Yeah, it's an interesting lingo. I mean, there's all sorts of interesting lingos in the SEO community, right? And there's a lot of funny characters. If you like that sort of lingo, Jackie Chow is probably the guy to follow. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't involve a trip to the SEI clinic unless you're trying to get data sets for a programmatic SEO website, in which case, okay. Now we're going to keep moving on. ASIEX says, do you think that getting brand searches, direct traffic, or traffic from other places, Facebook, Cura, email, push, etc., will help with Google rankings? I do, actually, because I think if Google can see that you're getting traffic from other places, then that validates the idea that you're not just a niche site or you're not just an affiliate site. And so therefore, you're more likely to sustain your rankings, because it's like an honest signal to say that you're getting traffic from elsewhere, this is a real site, therefore we're going to rank it. In theory, not seen any solid case studies, so I can't answer completely. But if you look at the biggest brands in the world, for example, I don't know, neilpatel.com, right? Neil Patel, he's not just getting traffic from SEO. He's not just like a little niche size trying to, scrounge as much traffic as he can. He's got traffic from other places, right? So Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, he's dominating every platform. And therefore, he's getting traffic from other places. He looks like a real brand. His EAT is going to be super high. And the thing is, if you're trying to get traffic from other platforms outside of SEO, it's not even that it's going to improve your rankings, but it's going to reduce the risk of everything else that could happen, right? So if a core update comes along and you get slapped or clapped or ball slapped, as Philip Stone likes to say, then you can come back from that. You're diversified. And it's, that sort of thing. So, yeah. And then when it comes to brand searches, I think that really validates that you're a real brand, obviously. And I think I've seen it. I think I've seen it within a Google patent. Yeah, for sure, like brand can help. Also, if you look at quality rated guidelines as well, they look at, okay, how big is that brand? Is that a real person? Are people actually searching that website out? And so, for example, if you look at the traffic of, I don't know, like IKEA.com, and you see how much traffic they're getting, then a lot of their traffic comes from branded searches, which I think validates a real brand, and therefore it's going to help their authority to rank for other terms as well, because they're like a real website. We've answered that one. And finding my way to 5K says, agree, brands are useful, but why does Reddit rank so high? It's not like it's fact checked, most times the opposite. I think we're all asking ourselves the same question there. It's a really interesting one. I don't know why Reddit is ranking so high. If anyone's not seen this, let me pull it up for you. Because things are only getting crazier and more hectic. And by the way, if you want a free SEO strategy session and you're struggling with rankings, feel free to book that. Link's in the comments and description. And if you're enjoying this video, please smash a like and subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm here to help you and I'm here to help you for free. So, you get free advice and I answer your questions at least once a week on a live like this. So if we look at Reddit's traffic, it is just popping off right now. You can see it's basically a vertical line ever since the helpful content update since last year. Now, why is that? I think Google, I don't know, complete theory, so, my personal opinion, but I would say that Google probably tried to overcorrect in the helpful content update last year. They figured, right, user-generated content, it's not SEO'd, it's not optimized, and therefore it's going to be better quality content than other websites. And, there's multiple voices within the content. So one guy might say yes, one guy might say no, etc. And therefore the content is more neutral than an affiliate just trying to push one product and make like $1,000 commission. So I think what's happened is that user-generated content was flagged as being high quality, but the problem is that Google's algorithm is kind of overcorrected. Now, what could happen, and we don't know, anything could happen next month. Very unpredictable times right now when it comes to updates. But what could happen next month is during the site reputation abuse update, so the Parasite SEO update, which seems to be potentially impacting websites like Outlook India, might impact websites like Forbes that rank in all sorts of reviews, could impact like LinkedIn, so for example, LinkedIn posts, and could potentially impact Reddit as well. So we might see a correction next month, but who knows? Time will tell. But it is a bit strange. And for me personally, if I'm trying to get a question answered, I'm not going to rely on Reddit because it's not written by experts, right? Like if I seek health advice, I'd much rather go to a niche website where they've got a doctor actually writing the content or signing off on it versus relying on Reddit for medical advice that could go terribly wrong. Who knows? All right. If Tekka Ahmed says, or maybe rent blog folder of business sites, shops, and run a relevant niche site on it. Yeah, this is an interesting one. So this comes under site reputation abuse, right? So what a lot of people are doing right now, and it works really well, let's be honest. I don't do it personally, but what a lot of people do is they'll partner with a super high authority website. It might be like a DR70, DR80, got a lot of power to it, can rank for pretty much everything. And what these sites will do is publish content on a subdirectory of that super high authority site. And then when you start publishing reviews, you've got a head start because you can start ranking straight away. Whereas, for example, if you create a niche website today, it might be 6, 9, 12 months before you start ranking for anything and start making any decent money. And then you're only getting the data in, right? Which means that you don't even know what converts yet. You don't know what's going to make you money yet. And it's not even set up in the right way. And so by creating content on a business site or a shop and sort of running like a niche subdirectory, you can rank. But again, are Google trying to stamp that out, like partnerships and site reputation abuse? I think so. Can they stamp it out completely? I'm not sure. It depends how you do things. I've tested it with expired domains of gyms, products, etc., and they rank pretty well. In fact, got a good boost in March. Yeah, I think Jackie Chow talks a lot about that. He's got a few videos on partnerships and that sort of thing. So if people are interested in that, they can check it out. Fat Jay says, But what about this helpful content update? How can we make helpful content that Google likes? Tough one. I mean, you've got to do your best, haven't you? Like, SEO is a probability game, and all you can do is try and do everything in your power to have the highest probable chance of ranking. Now, how would you do that from scratch? Well, you go after the right keywords, you'd create the right content with actual experience. And one thing I would say on this subject is information game. So if you look at a lot of niche sites that got hit, human or AI content, it wasn't necessarily that the content was bad. It wasn't necessarily that they were a niche site. One of the biggest problems that I see with a lot of affiliate niche sites is that they're reading like 10 other blogs that are already ranking and then rewriting what's already there. And they're not creating anything new in terms of information and information game. And if you're not creating anything new when it comes to information, then there's a chance that you get hit either now or in the future because you're not really providing any value to the game. Like, for example, if you look at my YouTube videos, I pretty much always bring something new to the table that I've experimented with. And I think that's the best approach with SEO as well. Now, is that always possible? No. And also, can you rank without any sort of information gain? Absolutely. So it's one of those. Also, like, what's in the guidelines and what actually happens in real life, as we all know, are two totally separate things. But there are just a couple of ideas. Isaac says, man, thanks so much for the content and help. It makes a huge difference. Hope soon I'll be in your mastermind. Well, I hope to see you there, Isaac. And if anyone's thinking about joining the SEO mastermind, which comes with the agency course, the YouTube course, 2 coaching calls a week with me live, and also an SEO course, plus a bunch of AI interesting stuff in there, plus a community as well, then feel free to join. Links in the comments and description. Hope to see you in there, Isaac. And I hope everyone is enjoying it. Aslek says, how would you go about more brand searches? I build audiences on different social media platforms, but I do not seem to get brand searches. How can you bring people to search your brand? Best way to do this that I know, and I personally tested this, is to have a YouTube channel, right? If you have a YouTube channel, you start creating content, people will start Googling you as a natural result. And they'll be like, who's this geezer? Who's this Julian Goldie lad? Why is he talking about AI so much, right? So I'm going to try and show you an example. Maybe I can look at the trends over time. So here's an example of me, right? Julian Goldie. Keyword difficulty, pretty easy. High search volume. And the reason that so many people search for me is because I'm omnipresent across multiple channels. Now, the 80-20 of that traffic, if I look, for example, last year, is from YouTube. So I think YouTube is one of the best places, not only because people will Google your name, not only because you'll get more brand searches from that platform, but also that content will convert really well. And additionally, when it comes to building up brand search, I think that people are much more inclined to Google you from YouTube content versus Twitter content, right? Because if people are on Twitter, it's not as engaging in terms of the content, right? Like, for example, they might see your tweet, spend like 10 seconds on it, and then move on to the next one. Whereas if, for example, someone is watching this YouTube live, they might have been with us for 48 minutes already. They're like, they almost feel like they know me or they know you when they watch your content, and therefore they're more likely to search about you because they're intrigued about you. They want to learn more about you, etc. It creates that relationship. So YouTube, I think, is the best for building brand search, and then other channels you can use, but YouTube's going to do the 80-20 of it. Fat J says, I have a better theory because in the USA is election year, so they are going to try to push censored content more. And since Reddit is highly censored by the left, they're trying to pull something. Honestly, I'm way out of the politics game. Do you know what? I don't even read the news. I try and stay well away from the news just to save my own mental clarity and peace. And typically as an entrepreneur, you probably know what it's like. Like, you have a million ideas coming all the time, and it's like, I only have so much room inside my little brain to handle multiple sources of information. So usually when it comes to information, if it's the news, I don't watch it. I don't really check it. I don't read it unless it's like SEO stuff. And to get my SEO news, I usually use Twitter and YouTube. Like, that's my best sources. And then I have a few mastermind WhatsApp groups as well. But yeah, I stay well away from the news. Would recommend anyone watching this to stay away from it too, just for your own mental peace and clarity. I know the generation before me, what they would typically do is they would sit down at like 6 p.m. every single day and then watch the news, right? And it's like, you're basically turning your brain into mush because it's so negative, and it makes you feel like the world is becoming the worst place. When actually, I think over time, there's never been a better time in history to be alive, especially to do SEO. Never been a better time. Bomb 2060 says, I was also hit by Japanese hackers. All right, so this sounds like a big attack recently. I'd be interested to know what's going on there. Maybe we'll have a cheeky Google and see what's happening there. Japanese SEO hackers, also known as Japanese SEO spam. Yeah, I think there was a big one in January, it seems like. See a couple of articles on Search Engine Journal and Search Engine Roundtable. Let's pull them up and I'll show you some examples of what I'm looking at here. Quite interesting because no one really talks about this stuff, right? So, Japanese keyword hack. Yeah, this is what happened to our client. So basically, it's an automated process that looks for vulnerabilities in your CMS to inject content on your website. So it looks like, yeah, so I think you can clean it up with your host, but that's an example of what it looks like, which is pretty crazy. And they even have a document on it. So Google have a document on the Japanese hack, which you can see right here. This is interesting. I've never seen this before. But they say this guide is created specifically for a type of hack that creates auto-generate Japanese text on your site. Okay. So you can actually identify it by looking at the code. For example, the page of text will look like this. And then it's giving you some tips on like how to remove all the malicious files and scripts. So if you haven't already checked that, and one of your clients or you've been hit by this, would recommend checking it out. That's pretty crazy. It has some guidelines on how to remove it. Let's have a look. How do we prevent it? So, okay, scan your computer, whatever, change your passwords. Would recommend Dashlane actually for passwords. 2FA, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, some good guidelines there actually. Gold Retirement Solutions says jump ship from SEO and go all in on YouTube, everyone. Yeah, I wouldn't say jump ship. I think the SEO is working just as well as it ever has, but obviously there's a lot of sites getting hit, and I think you just have to diversify. Like, that's a non-negotiable right now. If you're not diversifying your traffic and you sort of on the fence, you're not sure whether to do it or whether to invest time into it, 100% do it. In fact, what I'd recommend for anyone who's thinking about traffic diversification, set a 90-day goal and be like, right, I need X amount of traffic to make X amount of website money from my site in terms of revenue or profit. And then here are the actions I'm going to do daily to make sure that happens. Now, that might be publishing a YouTube video every day. Might be doing a live stream every day like this. It might be posting on Twitter once a day or something like that. And then once you crack the code and you start making money from that channel, and it's been like 90 days, and you're making money consistently, then move on to the next one, but also make sure you build an SOP in a process that you can give to a virtual assistant. So for me, for example, I have a virtual assistant that manages our LinkedIn. I have a virtual assistant that manages our Twitter, and they're tweeting like right now, even when I'm not using the platform. I have a team that manages my Facebook groups. And so if you can build out a team for every single channel in a profitable way, using Upwork or somewhere like that, and hiring and recruiting a bunch of freelancers, then you are good to go. Alta says, good for you, Julian. I also stopped watching news several years ago. I bet you don't miss it at all as well. I actually learned this from, who was it? Tim Ferriss in the 4-Hour Workweek. So I read that book about 10 years ago. I read it 2 or 3 times now, and there's some good advice in there, but it's all about just staying focused, right? Like if you shut out all the noise and you cut out all the negativity and then you focus and you move really far in one direction, how much more can you achieve, right? Because you haven't got 10% of your mental energy going into the news and 10% going into your favorite football team and all that sort of nonsense. And don't get me wrong, I'm a Manchester United fan, so I love football, but I have to cut it out. Can't watch it anymore because I want to stay focused on my business and making money and that sort of thing. Red6 says, and by the way, this is pretty much the last question. So if you've got any more questions, feel free to post them. Otherwise, I will end the stream. And if you're enjoying this live, then please do smash the like on it. That would help a lot. Red6 says, in your opinion, is creating content for blogs or websites with AI not a good idea to help us get ranked on Google? All right, here's what I would say. If you want to play it 100% safe and you're very risk averse, then use human content. For example, our agency, because I really care about my clients and because I can't afford for anything to happen to our clients, we only sell human content, right? Because Human content has been tested. We know it works. We know we've got a good team and a good process, etc., and that can rank really well. However, if, for example, you enjoy risk, you want to run some experiments, you want to build a website quickly, then AI works. Let's be honest. It ranks really well. There's a lot of AI sites out there ranking better than ever. AI SEO is working better than ever. Let's be honest. Am I going to tell you exactly how to do it right now on a YouTube live? No, because it's not safe to anymore. And that's why if you want to ask me any questions about that, I can answer them inside the SEO mastermind. But yeah, if you want to play it 100% safe, use human content. But can AI rank? Yeah. And can it rank better than ever? Yeah. I mean, imagine when ChatGPT 5 comes out, right? How good is that content going to be if you've got the right prompts? It's going to be amazing, especially if you have a human editor involved. And for example, even some people who help stamp out AI spam, for example, like the founder of Originality that I interviewed earlier this week and posted on my YouTube channel, even people like him, his team use AI because they're foreign writers and AI can be used in the right way with the right manual editing to actually make your content better than it was. And so there's a lot of good ways you can use AI SEO to rank. You can even use it post-publish it, for example, add in some resources, some tables into your content, etc. Hey bud, Ali Imran says, "Hey bud, share your thoughts on rank and rent too. Rank and rent, does it work? Absolutely. I've a lot of the plumbing sites I set up, and I think some people have seen those sites because I showed them on YouTube earlier last year. They're ranking like really well, getting better traffic than ever. And here's the thing about rank and rent: it is so easy. It's incredibly easy because you're going after keywords that like KD0 or KD5 or KD10, and no one has the resources. Let's say you're competing with John, the plumber, who likes to spend every night in the pub. Is he going to be creating content around the same keywords as you? No. So your only competition is marketing agencies, and you're not going to be up against them in every single state. So yeah, rank and rent works really well. But what I prefer over rank and rent right now is just building my own business, right? So if I have an SEO agency, why would I try and get traffic and sell leads to other websites and other businesses that can grow, and then maybe I take like 10% of the margin? Why would I do that if I can just grow my own SEO agency using local SEO in the same fashion? But then I also own the assets, I own the traffic, I can grow my SEO agency, and I can scale that up like crazy. Isn't that going to make me more money because I get 100% of the profits, not just like 10%? And also, I don't have to sell to anyone because I already have the systems inside my business, for example, the team, the sales process, the SOPs, etc., to convert that traffic really nicely. And so, yeah, I think in terms of priorities for me personally, it's like grow my own businesses and scale up the traffic using SEO that way. And then from there, rank and rent might be an option in the future, but it's not a priority right now because I can make more money with my own business. Red Six, so you think all the auto bloggers that are being promoted out there might not be a bad idea? So if you want to ask me questions about that sort of stuff, I would recommend going to the SEO Mastermind. Links in the comments because obviously you probably know what happened. We can't talk about this stuff publicly safely anymore, and I can't recommend it publicly anymore. Can I say that are there websites ranking with auto blogging out there? Yeah, 100%. And the thing I would say, if you look at Google's AI content guidelines, they don't say that AI is a bad thing. And they don't say that auto blogging is a bad thing. What they say is that if you're not editing the content or you're not adding anything new, or inside your content there's no sign of expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trust, if there's no signs of that within your content and you're not manually editing it and all the facts are wrong, then for sure don't do that because that's a terrible way to create content and it's going to ruin the internet. Let's be honest. If all that content, all that AI trash was just ranking, then Google and the rest of the internet wouldn't be a great place. But if it's like, right, you're going to create the content with AI, using the right prompts and the right processes and the right strategies, and then you're going to fact check it and plagiarism check it, and you're going to manually edit it using the SEO checklist to give away in my free course, step by step. Isn't that a better way to create content with AI? I think so. At that point, you're leveraging the best of both worlds because you're creating really high quality AI content. You're not spamming. You've fact checked everything. You've plagiarism checked it. You've AI content detection checked it, and you're making it the best it can possibly be. Thailand Heron says hello to you too. Sawadi clap. And Amawa says, hey, what do you think the future of affiliate blogging will be? I'm not going to be SEO. I think that affiliate blogging is getting harder and harder because it's getting stamped out by Google in every update, right? And I think that trend is only going to continue. So it's becoming harder and harder for those affiliates out there. And if you're thinking about starting a blog, I wouldn't recommend doing affiliate personally. I don't think that's the best way to monetize your site. Bear in mind, if you're an affiliate, you're making like maybe 10, 20%, maximum 40% of the profits. If you build your own product, or you build your own info product or course or coaching program, or you have your own service, or you build your own e-com store, which is 100% profit, 100% doable, right? Anyone can do that. I've met lots of people all over the world who can build their own e-commerce store and their own e-commerce products. Then you're building a real business and a real asset. And the beauty of that is that you've got a much higher chance of sustainably ranking long term. You make way more money. You might make like 5, 10, 20 times the amount of money. I mean, as an example, right? If I'm an affiliate blogger for an SEO agency, I might make like the first sale, like maybe 20%, 30%. If I'm an SEO agency with my own systems, my own team, and I build all the skills and learn all the skills to run my own business and hire a team and create SOPs, etc. If I build my own SEO agency, then I'm going to make maybe $1,000 in the first sale, not just $100 as an affiliate. So if you really want to make money, don't be an affiliate, like in terms of blogging. I mean, affiliates on YouTube, they can make a lot more money, but a blogger, I don't think the future is looking good. Whereas if you build your own business, you're gonna make a lot more money. Hope that makes sense. I didn't drag on too much. Thailand Heron says, been trying to ask a question, but YouTube doesn't like and keeps blocking it. Lol. Sorry about that. I hope you get it sorted. If not, join me on Twitter, and you can. I think you can comment on Twitter or LinkedIn. So if you're struggling on YouTube and you're getting blocked there for some reason, then just comment on a different channel, because we're live on Twitter. I think I'm live on my Facebook group, my actual main Facebook profile, etc. And we are live across everywhere. Ali Imran, shout out to Ali, says, could you share a brief roadmap to starting and getting clients for a local SEO agency? For sure. I'm actually going to talk you briefly through my actual roadmap and what I recommend, right? Step by step. So if you're an SEO agency, or you're thinking about starting one, or you're an SEO freelancer, this is going to help you, right? So this is inside my SEO mastermind. I'm going to stop sharing my screen just to protect anyone inside the mastermind. I don't want to put their name live on a YouTube live where we got hundreds of people watching. But if I present right here, and I will walk you through my whole roadmap for getting clients, right? So we're going to go to the SEO agency mastermind section inside my course. And the first step is really about building a great offer, right? So when it comes to selling something, you want to niche down, focus on one thing, one audience. So for example, let's say you're an SEO agency, you don't know where to start. You're like, right, I'm just going to focus on PR links. That's all I'm going to sell. And then you try and create an offer where people feel stupid to say no to that offer. Now, there's an actual framework inside my SEO Mastermind that teaches you exactly how to do that in a very actionable exercise, but that's essentially it. And then additionally, you want to productize, right? So you don't just want an offer. You don't just want to niche down into one thing in terms of SEO and selling the service. You also want to productize it so that it's very clear to the client what they're getting and how much they're paying and what they're going to get as an outcome. But additionally, it's very clear for you what you're going to deliver, right? So as an SEO agency, it might be like, right, I'm going to be a PR link builder. I'm only going to sell that. And it's going to be like $1,000 per backlink from a publication, something like that. Then once you figured out your offer and exactly what you're going to sell, now it's time to start generating leads. Now, how do you generate leads? I've got a blueprint inside this document, and obviously it's too in-depth to go through right now. But essentially what you want to do is think in terms of one channel, 90 days, crack the code, start generating leads consistently. And bear in mind, every single channel works as an SEO agency. I've personally tested them all. So Twitter, Facebook ads, LinkedIn, email lists, cold outreach, warm outreach, all of these channels work, but just focus on one and then crack the code for 90 days, right? So that's how you get started. So we've talked about how to get high paying clients with offers and productization. We've talked about how to get leads and how long to focus on that, etc. And then it's time to start selling, right? Now, when it comes to selling, with every single lead that you generate, don't try and sell them directly on a message. You want to jump on a call with them, because the more calls you can get on with different clients, the more you can understand your audience and tailor your offer so you know exactly what they're looking for, and you can tailor your offer so that it converts better every time you pitch it to a different client. And additionally, you want to filter out the crazy clients, right? So there's going to be some crazy clients out there who don't give you any freedom, don't trust you, etc., want to pay very little. These are not the sort of clients you want to work with. If you want to be working with clients that truly understand the value of SEO and are truly ready to invest. And additionally, you want to understand whether you can produce a high ROI for your clients, right? So for us, for example, a lot of our best clients are marketing agencies and SEO agencies because they know how the game works, and also they've got multiple websites that we can help. And then additionally, corporate clients are amazing, right? So if we work with a big like $1 billion company, which we do with a few different $1 billion companies, then we can help them, and the money they make from SEO is going to be a million times higher than some niche site that's not even making money yet and has a totally unproven website. And then when it comes to jumping on a call with clients, you really want to understand, okay, what are they looking for and how can you help them, and then sell them on the gap, right? There's a really good book called The Gap in the Game, and you can understand, okay, how to make sure that you're selling the game and the future and that sort of thing. But yeah, that's basically how it works. And then again, on a sales call, when you jump on a call with a client, really it's just about asking them questions. So you're kind of like the doctor and they're the patient, and you're trying to diagnose what the issue is and whether you can actually help them and how you can help them. And that's basically it. Usually in a sales call, back in the day, I did about 250 sales calls last year. This year, I didn't really do any because my team can handle it. But when it comes to sales calls, just I would say do 90% listening and 10% speaking, right? So most of the time, you shouldn't be speaking. You should ask a question, shut up, and then learn and listen to the client. So hope that helps you. That is my agency blueprint in a nutshell. Axelic says, would you use terms like buy now buttons if it's just a link to your KDP, or how would you go about it, especially seeing the ecom hype in SEO? Yeah, ecom hype in SEO, massive right now. People are going crazy about it. By the way, I think this is the longest live stream I've ever done. We're cracking on for about an hour and 7 minutes right now. So when it comes to SEO and the ecom hype, I mean, you really want to test different buttons. So for us, for example, what we found converts the best for our SEO agency is, I think it is, let me just double check the button on the website right now, book your free strategy session. That tends to get the most clicks versus say buy now or schedule now or book a free call, etc. So it's all about testing. And the thing is, you might be in one niche where buy now works really well because it's a low ticket offer and people just convert straight by buying the product. But there might be some other niches. For example, if you're selling like a $2,000 bicycle, pretty expensive bicycle, then people might not want to buy now. They might want to jump on a call with you now or something like that. So just test it, see what works. And that's going to vary niche to niche depending on the ticket of the website you're building. JN says, bro, you are doing good at talking in the camera. Wish I could do that. I've had a lot of practice. I think I've actually got my 10,000 hours in. So when it comes to speaking on camera, I kind of use this as public speaking practice. For me, I speak at a lot of conferences. For example, I was speaking at Vietnam SEO Mastery last month. And for sure, when I'm on stage in front of like 450 people, I'm going to get asked questions on the spot. So I have to be really good at answering questions and being engaging and entertaining whilst I do it. So I think I've learned a lot, and doing lives like this, it creates a lot of pressure, which makes me better at speaking and more articulate. And then the other thing is, it's all about practice, right? Get your reps in. It's kind of like the gym. Like first time I went to the gym, I mean, have you seen the size of these biceps, first of all? But first time I went to the gym, I could lift about maybe like 5 kg on the biceps. Used to be vegetarian, so I was really skinny. And then these days I can lift like, I don't know, maybe bicep curl like 20 kg if I'm trying to show off and it's a vanity day. So thanks very much for that. Next up, what we also got? Axel, it says, do you think that live streaming is even better than a regular YouTube video because of the direct interaction? I absolutely love live streams, right? So for example, now that I'm in Samui for a few days, I'm probably going to do live streams more than actual organic videos, simply because I'm not in the right atmosphere. I'm not in my studio or my office setup to be able to create high quality videos. And so that works really well. But the thing I would say as well is like, if you haven't got a big audience and nobody's really interested in jumping on the live yet because they don't know you and they haven't sold into you properly, then sometimes it's still better to do a organic video. I would just test it. It depends niche to niche. I mean, for example, for you, you're doing social media tips. If you've got, say, maybe 1K subscribers or more, live stream is probably going to work really well for you, especially if you do it multi-platform. So for me, for example, I use StreamYard.com, and then I'll stream across Twitter, LinkedIn, everywhere else, and I could just build the audience on every channel and engage with everyone. And that means that the amount of questions that come through and the amount of comments is going to be enough to create a really engaging and entertaining video. Whereas if, for example, I had like 10 subscribers, the algorithm is not going to push me to anyone, and therefore the live stream is going to get less views. So yeah, the other thing I would say is like try and make it a really entertaining one where, for example, you have a few headlines you can kick the ball off with, and then you can go from there. So yeah, hope that helps. Mikius says, which one is the best keyword research tool, Ahrefs versus SEMrush? I personally prefer Ahrefs, but I think that's just because my brain is trained to be able to use Ahrefs and the UI inside there really easily. One of the best tools that I've seen so far is Mangles, right? And the reason that I love Mangles for keyword research is that it takes into account not just the domain rating and the number of backlinks of the website's ranking. It will actually use like a multiple different ranking factors. And I think that's really important because when it comes to keyword research, you have to use a bit of common sense inside Ahrefs. If you look at the rankings inside Ahrefs, you wouldn't just look at, okay, how easy is a keyword or whether there's low DR sites ranking. You also want to look at like, okay, is this going to bring me money? And also there might be like sites that are ranking and it might say that you need 100 backlinks to rank, but actually when you check the backlinks, those backlinks are like from Fiverr.com and you don't need to worry about building so many backlinks. So I think Mango is probably the best algorithm for keyword research. Then for me personally, I'm still going to use Ahrefs because I don't want to pay for multiple tools. I already pay $1,000 a month for Ahrefs, and I'm sure they're going to crank up the price one day. You never know, right? Arsault says, is Upwork still a decent place to get sales in this niche? Absolutely. Upwork is a great place to get sales, right? Main thing with Upwork is that you really personalize the response that you send. So, for example, if you're trying to win a job proposal, you wouldn't say like this my dad or something crazy like that. And you wouldn't say something really generic. Ideally, especially in the first 3 lines, you want the name of the person, the name of the business, the website in there, and you want to use the same language that they have inside their job ad, right? So, for example, if someone put a job ad and they're like, right, I'm looking for an SEO rock star to rank my dog website number 1, then inside your Upwork proposal response, you would say, hey, John, I saw you're looking for an SEO rock star to rank your dog website number 1. Here's why I think I'm the best. And just create like the most personalized response that you can. The better you can do that, the more sales you're going to get. Additionally, when it comes to Upwork, you got to filter out the rubbish, right? So there's a lot of people who have never spent $1 on there but post a lot of job ads. You got to ignore them and filter them out hard. But if you want to learn more about that, check out my SEO mastermind because you can, number 1, ask me questions about agency stuff every week. You can DM me anytime you want. And also it's got the agency course there with loads of lead generation methods. JN says, Corey, also doing the gym and learning SEO at the same time. I think I need to go to the gym. Mate, get yourself to the gym 100%. You'll feel good. You'll get your energy up and you'll look jacked, man. Nothing wrong with looking jacked. So yeah, would recommend it. Jeff says, a little bonus tip actually, if we go back to that one. If you start going to the gym and start looking buff, get yourself some tailored athlete clothes because that is the only brand I'm wearing these days. Jeff says, how do you get invited to conferences? Any tips on becoming a voice in the SEO space? Very good question. So a couple of years ago, it sounds weird saying this, but I literally couldn't beg for a spot at some of these conferences, right? And even if I got down on my knees and begged for a spot at some of these conferences, people would say no. They'd say, who the hell is Julian Goldie? And so one of the best things that you can do is publish YouTube videos and build an audience. If you want to speak at conferences or you want to get known in your industry, publish YouTube videos because the people who are getting the most attention will always be the people at the front of the organizer's mind when it comes to the conferences. So, for example, a lot of people call me Mr. Everywhere because I'm on every channel and I'm always at the top of the algorithm and I'm always getting a lot of attention in the SEO space. And that means that when it comes to listing out the best names for a conference, I'm going to be near the top. Also, if you're struggling, if you don't have the time to build authority, if you don't have the time to do YouTube videos, then just ask for introductions, right? So for me, when nobody had heard of me and I was like Johnny Nobody, then what I would do is I would ask a few mates who had already spoken at conferences and DM them and say, mate, do you mind just get me a little recommendation to that conference? That worked really well. For example, like the TES affiliate conference that I spoke at last year in Portugal, I only got invited to that because, shout out to him, Jitendra Vatsvani actually introduced me. So if you've got the right friends, so you build the right connections, usually you can get a spot at these conferences as well. But it depends who you want to speak as well. So for example, places like Estonia SEO that I'm speaking at in June, I don't think that you can apply to be a speaker, as far as I'm aware. From what I've seen, they typically reach out to you. Or if you look at the SEO Mastery Summit, they try and get new speakers on every year and then be really organized. So when it comes to applying for these events, typically they're deciding on the speakers like 12 months in advance, especially if it's a big conference, which means that you got to be early and you got to be on it and you got to be dedicated. But what I would also say, and just being 100% honest here, is that you want to think in terms of ROI. So it's all good speaking at these conferences and becoming a voice in the industry, etc. But if you don't make any sales from it, what's the point? Because I wouldn't be a good SEO and I wouldn't be good at monetization if I didn't think in terms of ROI. And I think whether you're going to conferences, don't chase conferences, chase money. Don't chase views on YouTube, chase money. And that's a better mindset to look at it. So for example, if you traveled to Vietnam and it took you like 5 days and you weren't anywhere near as productive because you can only, work from a little hotel room and you have to spend money on flights and everything else, is that worth all the time and energy and effort that you invest into that situation? Or would you be better off spending 8 hours a day for 5 days, recording YouTube videos, doing loads of podcast interviews, etc., and then trying to get clients that way? I think that would make you a lot more money. Aslex says the name Our Soul is nice comedy. Yeah, that's true. Actually, I didn't realize that. Actually, this happened in the Poland conference as well. I think I read someone's name out, and it was a super dodgy name. I'm not even going to repeat it on YouTube, but yeah, it's overwhelming. You can't get them all. So SD says, is digital product e-com business worth more than physical product? I would. That's a tough one. It depends what industry you're in and that sort of thing. And also bear in mind, like when it comes to selling an e-com store, right, here's the thing. With an e-com store, unless you're building a brand, the barriers to entry are very low. And anyone at any time can come along and try and rip off your product. So whether you're building a digital product e-com business or a physical product e-com business, and I know this because one of my mates is selling a e-com business at the minute, you got to build a brand. That's the only moat you have. For example, if you look at Coca-Cola, I don't think the product is amazing. I don't personally, my personal opinion, I don't think the product is that good. But they have such a big brand, they have so much authority, they're so well known that if I go to a shop, I'm not going to ask for like Inca Cola from Peru. I'm going to ask for Coca-Cola. Not even because I prefer it, but just because it's the first one that comes to mind. And that's because of brand. So I think brand is far more powerful than anything else. And that's what makes your business worth it. It's not whether you have a digital product or a physical product. It's about the brand. But what I would also say is that when it comes to profit margins, digital products are like 95% profit margin, unless you're using like Facebook ads. Whereas a physical product, your profit margin on that might only be like 20 or 40%. And so if your business is more profitable, you're going to be able to sell it for more, and therefore it's going to be worth more. Butterfly Meditation says, any tips on changing mindset from being stuck in information paralysis? I get this all the time. So number one, I'm going to try and write this down for you so that I can clarify my own thoughts as well. And I'll pull this up. So let me present my screen right here. And we'll run through this together. We'll ride around the track together. So when it comes to information paralysis, number one, don't use it as a form of procrastination. For example, let's say I'm thinking about selling my business. If I'm thinking about selling my business, I shouldn't be reading like a million books on how to sell my business. What I should be doing is contacting as many sellers as I can and trying to speak and connect with all of them so that I can get different quotes and move the ball further down the field towards selling my agency. Whereas if, for example, I'm just reading books and collecting loads of information, my mind is going to be overwhelmed with all sorts of questions, but I won't have made any progress. Whereas if I speak to one buyer tomorrow who's ready to buy the business, I'm probably 50% of the way there. So that's one of the first things. Number two, information diet. This is something, again, Tim Ferriss talks about, and I'll give you some examples, right? So coming back to what we talked about before, don't read or watch the news. If you read and watch the news, you're going to fill your mind with nonsense. It's going to turn your brain to mush. And then you're going to have these crazy negative thoughts. You're like, where did that come from? This is the thing I find with books as well, right? So if you're reading books and you really want to cut down the amount of information that you're taking in, I would cut out I would cut out any books for now. And if you really have to watch/read something, read nonfiction. Because read fiction books. Because otherwise, and that will help you escape from all the crazy stuff that's going on in your mind. But if you try and read loads of like non-fiction books, and it's very dense in information, then it's going to soak up a lot of your mental energy, and that's going to stop you from taking action. And the biggest problem with information paralysis is that it stops you taking action. So all of these tips right here are about taking more action, right? So don't use it as a form of procrastination. Don't read or watch the news. Cut out any books for now. And additionally, I would do something like a rice analysis. Rice analysis is really powerful. I'm going to pull this up right here. Right? So actually, what I can try and find is a previous rice analysis of mine as an example, because I do them pretty much every quarter. Let's see if we can find anything. Let me search my Google Drive and I will show you. But basically, whilst I'm trying to find this, I'll talk you through it. So rice analysis is all about looking at the actions and all the options that you have, and then identifying the overall score in terms of reach, impact, confidence, and effort. Right. So if I share a previous one that I've done, let's share my screen right now. So this is a rice analysis. And you would set like a random quarterly goal. For example, like, I don't know, grow the MMR to $2,000 with SEO for one of your websites. And then you'd be like, right, I'm going to publish X amount of articles per day. These are all the tasks that you could do, right? I could set up a Pinterest account. I could post on social media. I could set up some more social media profiles. I could set up one outreach campaign per week. And then you would analyze the overall reach, the impact out of 5, how confident you are that this will have an impact, and the overall effort, right? So the amount of time that this will require. Weigh up all the options and then pick the best one, because quite often we have a lot of options, and the person who can weigh up all the options and pick the best one wins. That's it. Simple as that. And so using a rice analysis matrix like this one right here, you can easily figure out what is the best option, and then it's just a case of taking action. And then additionally, dive in. This is the final thing. I'm not going to give you too much information on this because, I don't want you to get information paralysis. But when it comes to picking the best sort of option or just making sure that you take action, right? Just dive in. What do I mean by this? Well, for example, if I'm doing an ice bath, I'm just going to jump in. I'm not going to think about, okay, is it cold? Is it going to hurt? Am I ready? Etc. I'm just going to jump straight in. Same with YouTube. With YouTube, you just hit record. With blogs, you just start writing. And what I would say is it doesn't matter about the overall quality. The main thing is you overcome the resistance, because what's separating you from where you are towards taking action is just a resistance in between. So how do you overcome that resistance? You have to dive in. And that means, in terms of mindset, let go of perfectionism, let go of any expectations. And typically, when it comes to SEO or YouTube or any other channel, you're creating content. That's what the game is about. Content is your business. And so when it comes to creating content, create without any judgment. So don't judge yourself, especially if you're just getting started. And don't create anything with drama, right? So there should be no internal judgment or drama when you're creating content. Let go of perfectionism, let go of your expectations, and just dive in, right? YouTube, you just hit record. Blogs, you just start writing. You just do it. Rice analysis is one of the best ways to look at all your options and figure out which one is the best. And then make sure that you cut down the information that you intake in. If that means that you stop watching this YouTube channel because you need to take in less information, then make that sacrifice. I'm happy to tell you to do that because I care more about you getting results than you watching my YouTube videos and me getting a few more sales calls in. So I hope that helps you. Let's keep going. Right now, we've got Jeff who says, nice, thanks, Julian, appreciate it. SD says, I am a graphic designer and can make digital products in various categories. So asking if I should invest my time into a digital product. Yeah, I would say it's one of the best opportunities right now, right? Because if you can create a digital product, number one, it's very scalable. Number two, profit margin is super high. Number three, it's far more sustainable than being an affiliate where someone can just cut your margins or cut your commissions at any time. We've all seen that with recurring affiliate commissions. And number four, it should only be a little tiny part of your funnel, right? So for me, this is the way that I look at info products. I'm going to share my screen again, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Let me pull up the white. I love to get the whiteboard out, so I appreciate you asking that question. But when you're looking at digital products, and you're trying to grow a business that way, whether it's with SEO or whatever, you want to see it as an ascension funnel. So that digital product that you create, that might be down there. And actually, there's something else to sell here. And then you're going to make even more money when you send them over here, right? And it might be that you create a digital product for $7, then one for $56, and then one for $300. And you just keep sending people up the funnel, giving as much value as you can along the way, of course, and helping people. But bear in mind, at every single stage that you send people towards making more money, and I'm going to put money over here, and I will put trust and time over here at the bottom. But as you send people up the funnel, they're always going to have another problem. As an example of this, if you look at my journey as an agency owner, when I was first getting started, my biggest problem was just figuring out what to sell. And then once I figured out what to sell, my biggest problem was trying to get clients and generate leads. And then once I figured out, okay, I can figure out what to sell, I understand how to get leads. The next problem is solving how to sell something. And these can all be stages within a funnel for selling to your audience. And so you just want to think in terms of, okay, how can I solve the next problem? How can I help people more? What can I do to get them along their journey and help them achieve their goals further? Because at every single stage, there's a new opportunity to build a new digital product. Fitness Frez says, any content audit courses? So inside our SEO Mastermind, we actually have a section on how to track and iterate your content, and also how to edit and manually improve your content. Additionally, if you check out the free SEO course inside the description, you'll find a manual SEO checklist, plus a video that talks you through exactly how to edit your content and audit it. That's a good way to do it. I've also seen, and listen, I sell an SEO Mastermind, but I don't mind promoting anyone else on this channel. So, for example, we've got Chris from Sir Links a Lot, who sells backlinks. Shout out to Chris. And I don't mind giving him a little promotion right there. But when it comes to this as well, I'd recommend checking out Authority Hackers. So they've just released a new content audit or content pruning checklist. So I think it's like a whole different blueprint aside from their normal course that you can get access to. And that looks really cool. It looks really promising. I've seen a few graphs before and after on the case studies. Looks really interesting. But yeah. So just coming back to that, check out my SEO Mastermind, check out my free course, and also check out Authority Hackers content pruning blueprint. Looks really interesting. I haven't had a chance to watch it, been pretty busy, but yeah, might do something on that in the future. In fact, if you want to see me interview Gail Breton again on the channel about content pruning and content auditing, maybe I can persuade him to get on there, and I'll try my best to get him on the channel. But yeah, let me know if you want to see that. Just comment below. And Butterfly Meditation says, great answer. I certainly will be continually watching your channel. I appreciate that. And thank you very much, everyone who's watched. That is the end of the live stream. We have done 1 hour and 30 minutes, which is a world record for me. So I appreciate everyone who's been watching. thank you very much. If you want to check out my free SEO course, links in the comments description. Hope to see you inside the SEO Mastermind. If you're not already in there, there's loads of good stuff that I've already shown you today. And if you want to get a free SEO strategy session about how to get more leads, traffic, and sales to your business completely free, we'll just jump on a phone call with you and give you a custom tailored link building game plan and look at your competitors, answer any questions you have, build out a game plan so you can start ranking. Check out the link in the comment descriptions. Appreciate everyone who's watching and see you on the next one. Bye-bye.